Every summer for 2 months in upstate New York, the best jockeys, trainers, and equine athletes in the game assemble at historic Saratoga Racecourse. This summer, we were treated to some unforgettable and even record-setting performances. Over the course of the next half hour, we're going to show you the best of the best from this past summer at the spa as the Saratoga Live team counts down the top 10 best performances of the meet.
And they're into the stretch, and it's Matoli off the turn in front. A length and a half lead to Kelly Beg's captain. Firenze Fire is third on the outside. Promises Fulfilled is dropped back at the rail. A furlong to run. Matoli to catch. He's got a 2.5 length lead. Firenze Fire is second. Kelly Beg's captain is third. Behind the mighty Matoli.
Mighty Matoli is right, Andy. We saw some special stuff from sprinters this meet. Matoli rebounding in record-breaking fashion in the forego.
Yeah, this was, to me, one of the more satisfying wins because I'm a huge fan of Matoli, but also I think we're all fans of good horses. To me, he is an absolute leading contender for Horse of the Year at this point.
You know, it was Justify's Preakness Day, yet as we look at the number 10 most memorable moment at Saratoga, this meet, Matoli's dominant forego on the Travers undercard. But aside from Justify winning the Preakness, what I remember is Matoli. In his win, I believe the Chicklang, the clock, the final time for 6 furlongs at Pimlico. Nobody runs that fast at Pimlico. It is no run-up whatsoever, lit up the clock, and right then you knew you were looking at something incredible.
As Concrete Rose turns for home and the Saratoga Oaks with the lead. Olin Dog comes up on the outside into second. Coral Beach is third and then Happen to the outside in Kelsey's Cross. Julian Leparoux says, let's go Concrete Rose, and she takes off. The Princess of the Turf. Concrete Rose wins the Saratoga Oaks.
North America's finest 3-year-old turf filly, Concrete Rose, stellar in the first ever Saratoga Oaks. But this is a two-part moment, the 9th most memorable moments, plural, of the Saratoga meet.
They're into the stretch. A thread of blue is still there. Trying to take them all the way as Digital Age is closing. Cape of Good Hope is putting in a late bid toward the inside. Social Paranoia fights on between horses. A thread of blue trying to get another 1/16 of a mile. Digital Age running after him. A thread of blue is still there, and he's going to go all the way in the Saratoga Derby Invitational.
Quiet meet for trainer Kieran McLaughlin, Andy, but he made a lot of noise on that afternoon with a thread of blue in the first Saratoga Derby.
Absolutely, and you know, I've talked to Kieran about it, and as he was saying, you know, it's been a tough meet, but when your one big victory is in a $1 million race, he also had a little Cullen win for him too.
Right. But
this was a huge win for him, and as much as it pained me to see Digital Age lose, I was happy for Kieran.
At number 9, inaugural Turf Triple Series. Concrete Rose in the Saratoga Oaks. 48 hours later, a thread of blue in the Saratoga Derby.
And it's Serengeti Empress and Kofefi. And the two of them hook up as they arrive at the 8th pole. Serengeti Empress digs in inside. Outside it's Kofefi. Nothing separates these two as they come to the final 16th. It is Kofefi on the outside. Serengeti Empress digs down deep at the rail. The two of them down to the wire. And a test for the ages that goes to Kofefi.
Number 8, moment of the meet. For me, second best race of the meet. Kofefi, Serengeti Empress, Andy, throwing it down in the Grade 1 test.
You know, the test is one of these races that year after year after year seems to produce memorable performances, and they're no different this year. And a very nice horse in Kofefi, but also Serengeti Empress.
You'd say that has to be hard for Tom Amoss to watch. He has to be so proud of Serengeti Empress and what she's, of course, the Oaks win. It took a freakish performance by Guarana to beat her in the Acorn, and that effort there with Kofefi in an absolute thriller. The number 8 moment of the 151st Saratoga meet. Kofefi, Serengeti Empress in a thriller, in a test for the ages. And Andy, it's been such an exciting time this year in general for 3-year-old fillies. Those two, Guarana, Dunbar Road, Concrete Rose, who's now on the sideline. For 3-year-old fillies, the depth and some of the brilliance we've seen in 2019 has been incredible.
And Amicio, Jaramillo, and Chancelot are all by themselves at the 8th pole. 8 lengths in front of Honest Mischief, who's taken second on the inside. And then it's Lemnisket, followed by Achilles Warrior, but it's a one-horse race. It's Chancelot who's crushed the competition in the Amsterdam. He won it by 10 or more.
It was a performance that rocked the racing world. Twitter lit up, the clock lit up. Chancelot, absolutely brilliant in the Amsterdam.
One of my favorite moments the entire meet, we were on the set up front, and Tom Amoss and I were there. We both sort of turned around at the same time at the 8th pole to see him come by, as though we were seeing it on TV, but you just wanted to be sure it was actually happening in real life.
It was unbelievable the way he poured it on. And just days after, Imperial Hinton broke a record in the Vanderbilt, and here comes Chancelot shattering another record. When we come back, counting down the top 10 moments of the Saratoga meet, where does Code of Honor's Travers win rank? Counting down the finer moments of racing here at Saratoga as we pause. And what about the lighter side and some of the more humorous events we've seen on this show? A chance for you to laugh at us here on Saratoga Live.
I've already made a bet on this race, John. I've already bet over 157 is the final time for this race. And anybody in the set, by the way, if that fish Amos wants to get involved in this and he thinks under, his money's good with me.
You didn't pay anything last year after losing quite a few bets, so we'll just make it a gentleman's bet, because there is one gentleman in the bet.
The under prevails.
The under does indeed prevail, but
The best part is that Andy at the 16th pole said, I'm a cinch.
I did too.
I've heard him say that before.
And that looks like a tornado. And if that thing starts spinning, you guys are closing the show. Yeah, set's falling apart, storm moving in. So with that...
All right, guys, the rain's starting to come. Can I go now? The rain's falling. Holy Moses. Just briefly tell me about your trip. All right, let's get shelter, Louis. Congrats if you did win it, Lafitte.
I just want to know if I could clear through management, if I could just wear your wardrobe.
You got to have a doctor's note. We've been talking about it. You got to have a doctor's note. No, I'm a little bit upset. I read the newspaper this morning that you said you wouldn't wear my shirt to bed. That's a little bit mean, don't you think?
I'm a little bit mean.
What's happening, guys? Closing week, where did the time go?
That's Gary Stevens. He's right there.
Goes on for infinity.
Where'd everybody go?
On and on and on.
Andy Serling is very big in the pubs in New York. We have him on every afternoon with the show, so we brought him up an official FDNY cap, but we almost couldn't afford it because we follow his selections.
Andy, can you please make better picks for these guys?
I'll do my best. I would never want to let them down.
I'm no Maggie Wolfendale. I'm just making sure they all have 4 legs and a tail and a rider on them.
What
Stop.
on God's green earth is that?
That's what my teachers used to say back in school.
First win at Saratoga. How are we celebrating tonight?
Popping bottles tonight.
I love it. Wow, she has to go potty. I can't say I've seen that.
They just changed the track conditions.
Hang on, I can't see you guys doing it. Oh.
You okay?
Yeah.
That happened to Art behind the scenes, does a terrific job editing, completely knocked over. What a meet it has been. When are we going to get you in one of Jonathan's shirts that you said you wouldn't go to sleep in?
I wear ridiculous shirts at times in my life. It was all for show. And we're all just jealous that Jonathan gets to dress like that, and we have to
I said I need his,
dress like we're professionals.
I need his agent. I need his agent.
And Gaidu turns for home in front. Made you look. Now moves up right alongside after 3/4 in 108.36 and grabs the front. Got Stormy is finishing fast. March to the arch is charging in. Uni is 2. But as they come to the final 16th, Got Stormy has taken the lead. And Got Stormy, the filly did it in the 4-star Dave. The course record
Great
crushed.
call from Larry Comas. Got Stormy, record-breaking time, and for Mark Cassey, historic, first female to ever win the Grade 1 4-star Dave.
Mark Cassey knows how to get fillies and mares to win big turf races, especially at a mile, doesn't he?
Tepin was pretty good. They say this is their next Tepin, by the way, and based on that performance, who's going to argue?
Well, that performance looked Tepin-like. She's got a long way to go in accomplishment to equal Tepin, I hope for them.
Woodbine Mile, I believe, next for Got Stormy. I think number 6 of performance in the 4-star Dave for the most memorable moments of the meet. What a meet for Mark Cassey. What a year. Preakness, Belmont.
into the stretch in the Whitney. McKenzie, Preservationist, Vino Rosso, and Yoshida. And they're across the track. Coming to the final furlong, McKenzie's in front. Yoshida runs after him on the outside. Vino Rosso is third. McKenzie comes by the 16th pole, and he's going to do it. McKenzie has won the Whitney.
What a performance from McKenzie in the Grade 1 Whitney. Now Bob Baffert says he wants to get maybe one more start into him before the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah, listen, this race was exceptional right here. And Mike Smith, I always say that horses aren't like driving cars when people say, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Well, that particular day, he was like a sports car. Mike turned him on and off about 3 different times during the race. I thought they were going to collar him at the quarter pole, and he had a couple of gears left, guys.
Yeah, he did. And you heard a lot of familiar names in that Woodward that came back, and they ran, in the Whitney, that ran in the Woodward. And one of those was Preservationist, who was in his wake, who came back and really ran a much improved race in the Woodward. I think Preservationist has gotten closer to McKenzie, but McKenzie's our Pro Tem leader, no question.
Rushing Fall gets first run. Sister Charlie comes after her. They're 1-2. Omerique is finishing in the center of the course. It's Sister Charlie, Rushing Fall, and Omerique. The Chad Brown runners 1, 2, 3 coming down to the line, and it's going to be Sister Charlie and the Diana.
Sister Charlie off the bench, first start back since the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf victory, and does this off the bench, back-to-back in the Diana.
She has a devastating kick, particularly if she can get pace up front. Now, this year, she's got a stablemate, Thias, that sets the table for her. Goes to the front, is basically the rabbit for her in the race. And now that we know we're getting good pace up front, as we did in the Diana, and then again at the Beverly D and at Arlington, we have a situation here where you're looking at a horse that's nearly impossible to beat.
Going to take a short timeout. We'll continue to run down our top 10 racing moments of the meet. How about a track record by this sprinter who's going to take a third crack at the Breeders' Cup Sprint? We'll be back. Back on Saratoga Live. We lost the great Mary Lou Whitney earlier this meet, who has meant so much to this racetrack, to this town of Saratoga. Her memory will live on forever. So special to this sport, in a town that she has been so important a part of in making Saratoga what it is.
Mary Lou did wonderful things when no one was looking. Once Mary Lou set her mind to doing something, there was no stopping her.
She was a beacon of light in the community, not only in Saratoga, but I'm telling you, her power of being a champion and supporting those always in need, it speaks out around the world.
I mean, really and truly, we owe Saratoga, as we know it today, to Mary Lou Whitney. The hospital, the dance museum, SPAC. Think of all the things that she has meant to this area. There was no reason why she had to do that, except that that was who she was, that was her nature.
Our backstretch workers, they are the sport's unsung heroes. These wonderful people work long hours in dangerous situations while often living in poor conditions. All of us should try more to improve their lives and advance their dignity.
She means a lot to the backstretch. From her smile, from her genuine giving back. They will miss her coming into the backstretch appreciation dinners when she had to do bingo and she would just show up from the tent and everything that she sponsored through the backstretch programs.
It's been 26 years. It's just one furlong away. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
I'm sorry that Smarty Jones couldn't win. We kept saying to Prado be second.
In victory, and a lot of times you get defeated, but she was so great in victory, and she felt sorry. She really did, which is amazing. It shows you the spirit she had.
And little Birdstone digs down. The cliff's edge could not get to him in the darkness at Saratoga.
she fought. I mean, that's a good example for everybody. Don't give up. She just kept at it, you know, and she never wavered. So, great inspiration for all, especially me.
The way she told everyone, these are our horses. It's our responsibility to take care of them, not just when they're racing, but afterward. I have never had a friend like Mary Lou before in my entire life, and I know I'll never have another friend like her.
It didn't matter whether you were a millionaire or you were a guy walking down the street in sneakers, shorts, and a t-shirt. Everybody was a somebody to Mary Lou.
Knowing these people and riding for them is an honor, a privilege, and something that I will never forget. I was very proud when I rode for the stable. It was to me like I conquered the mountain that I was trying to get up.
Every once in a while, somebody comes along that makes a difference, and then somebody comes along that makes a huge difference. A tribute to her should last forever.
To all Saratoga, thank you for my wonderful life. May God bless you, and may God shine His love on Saratoga and on this track.
An Imperial Hint is coming up to them now with a 3-wide burst, and he takes the lead. Imperial Hint has gone right by to take charge at the top of the stretch. He has left Matoli and Strike Power behind. Firenze Fire is closing the gap on the inside. Diamond Oops is in the middle of the racetrack. Imperial Hint comes into the final furlong, and he has opened up to a 5-length lead. Oh, he's back! Imperial Hint's gonna win the Vanderbilt again. Oh, he won it by 4.5 lengths. And he broke the track record, 107.92 by Imperial Hint.
How about that performance from Imperial Hint, who freaked in that same race last year as well? And it should be noted who's behind him in this race.
Yeah, he beat Matoli, and he got the perfect setup there. It wouldn't matter what the setup was. He just kept finding and finding and finding, and breaks the track record.
Off that performance, is he your leader in the clubhouse for the Breeders' Cup Sprint?
He is to me. I know a lot of people might think Matoli's back, but he is to me.
Code of Honor is now making his move, and he's closing on the outside. Tacitus has been put to a full-out drive. Mucho Gusto. Code of Honor is gaining ground on the far outside. Endorsed is coming down the center. Owendale in highest honors too. They're into the final furlong. Code of Honor, Mucho Gusto, and Tacitus. Code of Honor has taken the lead, and Code of Honor and John Velasquez have won the Run Happy Travers.
Code of Honor with a Travers victory. Shug McGahee did such a tremendous job with this horse. He backed off after he didn't win the Kentucky Derby, said, we're going to skip the last 2 legs of the Triple Crown, wait for later in the summer, and wait for this race.
Yes, he did. He ran such a brave race in the Kentucky Derby. Coming through on the inside, things got tightened up for him. He continued on, but he said he needed to mature some. Comes back in the Dwyer, ran a great race in the Dwyer, was able to sit back, run him down. He showed it kind of a new dimension with that kick he had that day. Well, he took it to a whole different level in this year's Travers.
I should say point to this race. Yeah, that Dwyer, he was just sensational at Belmont. That was a 1-turn mile and looked even better. 2 turns mile and a quarter in the Travers. Number 1 moment of the meet. Here it is.
And it's a late to catch. Midnight Bijou, her fearsome foe, comes at her on the outside, and these two lay it on the line with a 16th to go. A late on the inside, Midnight Bijou on the outside. They're coming to the wire. Who's it gonna be? Oh, it's so close.
It has been an incredible rivalry between these two this year. A late Midnight Bijou in the personal ensign. Both of them ran winning races, but in the end, Mike Smith, just the magic touch on Midnight Bijou.
Yeah, and neither one deserved to lose, and it was one for the ages. Just the best horse race that we saw up here this summer, in my opinion, and that's why it's number 1. Not because it was my opinion. I think that's everybody's opinion that has worked here this summer.
Hard to top that, what we saw. A race that lived up to the billing in a showdown everyone wanted to see and exceeded expectations with that stretch duel. Just tremendous. What Saratoga we were treated to this year in 2019. So enjoyable. And of course, we've talked about this a few times as well. It's the 10-year anniversary of Rachel Alexandra when she was a 3-year-old filly beating older males in the Grade 1 Woodward when she raised the rafters here.
Walking over for the race, she really had a race day feel about her. She really exuded a lot of confidence in her handlers and stuff when she was right. And, we felt good about that.
It hit us pretty much in the paddock, seeing all the other very accomplished colts that she was going to go up against, and seeing the mass of people.
Everybody loved Rachel, you know, no matter where she went, that she was popular, you know, but when you come into a race like this, you know, you fixing to hook the old horses, and, you know, they had a little pressure on you.
They had decided to pass on the Travers because they had nothing to prove against 3-year-old colts. She won the Preakness, and she won the Haskell. There was certainly nothing left for her to prove with members of her own sex and generation. The only thing left was for her to go against older males.
And they're off. Steve told me, he said, you know, just go ahead and let her run away from there, and she'll carry you, you know, and she did, you know, because we went fast.
Oh, the first quarter was 22 4/5 seconds. There'll be no free ride for Rachel Alexandra. They're making her work for every step today.
Durkin's amazing call, but when he shouted out the fractions, I mean, you got a little weak.
46 2 was the half mile. Calvin Burrell was able to slow that pace down just a little bit.
When I said a bit of a breather, you know, it was just a bit of a breather. She was still going too fast.
And Macho again is firing.
From the 3/8 pole to the quarter pole, I give her a little breathing. I'll never forget it. I give her a good breathing there. And then when I asked her again, you know, she got away. So I said, well, we're fine now.
And Calvin Burrell imploring his filly for more. And Rachel Alexandra holds on to the lead.
About 40 yards from the wire. It looked like he was going to get by her, you know, but she kept digging in.
Rachel Alexandra, Macho again. They're coming down to the finish. It's going to be desperately close. Here's the wire. Rachel won. She is indeed Rachel Alexandra the Great.
For a 3-year-old filly to beat older males in a Grade 1 on the dirt here at Saratoga, knowing it's happened, seems far-fetched.
Rachel Alexandra raises the rafters here at the Spa.
And when I stood up, you know, and I looked at Robbie, I said, I don't care if we would have won another round, you would have never got by her, you know. That's the type of horse she was.
I mean, it was thunderous. The whole grandstand was shaking.
All those people in the grandstand screaming their lungs out, all of that air into wooden beams that are 100 years old. And it literally hits them with such force that it made them move. And that's what I felt, literally, in my feet. And that's why I said she raised the rafters in Saratoga.
Afterwards, with a great sense of relief, and watching her leave the winner's circle and walk the length of the racetrack to the test barn with the fans 10, 15 deep. They kind of bubbled as she walked. It was very special.
She's an icon. We have a giant statue of her at the farm. She's happy, and she's definitely retired, but she'll run around the paddock a little bit.
Something as special and unique as Rachel is why we all do this. And be able to relive it you know, that how blessed we've been to be in her presence and what a horse like Rachel can do for us that we've never been able to do for ourselves.